Russian scientist says planet's atmospheres are changing. By Art Rosenblum. Russian scientist says the solar system is moving into a new energy zone that is transforming the magnetic fields of the planets. This is the Russian perspective on Earth changes. Hard facts that are going unreported in America. The atmospheres of the planets are changing. Drive. Dmitrev's work shows that the planets themselves are changing. They are undergoing changes in their atmospheres. For example, the Martian atmosphere is getting sizably thicker than it was before. The Mars Observer probe in 1997 lost one of its mirrors, which caused it to crash, because the atmosphere was about twice as dense as they calculated, and basically the wind on that little mirror was so high that it blew it right off the device. Earth's moon is growing an atmosphere. Also, the moon is growing an atmosphere that's made up of a compound Dmitriv refers to as natrium. Dmitriv says that, around the moon, there is this 6,000 kilometer deep layer of natrium that wasn't there before. And we're having this kind of change in Earth's atmosphere in the upper levels, where HO gas is forming that wasn't there before. It simply did not exist in the quantity that it does now. It's not related to global warming, and it's not related to CFCs or fluorocarbon emissions or any of that stuff. It's just showing up. Magnetic fields and brightness of the planets are changing. The planets are experiencing sizable changes in their overall brightness. Venus, for example, is showing us marked increases in its overall brightness. Jupiter has gotten to have such a high energetic charge that there is actually a visible tube of ionizing radiation that's formed between its moon, Io. You can actually see the luminous energy tube in photographs that have been taken more recently. And the planets are having a change in their fields. The magnetic fields are becoming stronger. Jupiter's magnetic field has more than doubled. Uranus's magnetic field is changing. Neptune's magnetic field is increasing. These planets are becoming brighter. Their magnetic field strength is getting higher. Their atmospheric qualities are changing. Uranus and Neptune appear to have had recent pole shifts. When the Voyager 2 space probe flew past Uranus and Neptune, the apparent north and south magnetic poles were sizably offset from where the rotational pole was. In one case, it was 50 degrees off, and in the other case the difference was around 40 degrees, both of which are pretty big changes. The overall changes could essentially be broken down into three categories: energy field changes, luminosity changes, and atmospheric changes. Overall volcanic activity has increased 500% since 1975. On the Earth, we're seeing the changes even more completely. For example, Michael Mandeville has done research that has shown that the overall volcanic activity on the Earth since 1875 has increased by roughly 500%. The overall earthquake activity has increased by 400% just since 1973. Natural disasters increased 410% between 1963 and 1993. Drive. Dmitriv did a very elaborate calculation of natural disasters. He showed that if you compare the years 1963 through 1993, the overall amount of natural disasters of all different kinds, whether you are talking hurricanes, typhoons, mudslides, tidal waves, you name it, have increased by 410%. The Sun's magnetic field has increased by 230% since 1901. There's a study by Drive. Mike Lockwood from Rutherford Appleton National Laboratories in California, who has been investigating the Sun. He has discovered that since 1901, the overall magnetic field of the Sun has become 230% stronger than it was before. More than just Earth changes. So, all in all, what we're seeing is a lot more than just what they call Earth changes. Some people get into the idea that there is an interaction between the Earth and the Sun that's going on here. Very few people are aware of the work that is being done in the Russian National Academy of Sciences in Siberia, specifically in Novosibirsk, where they are doing this research. They've come to the conclusion that the only possible thing that could be causing this energetic change all throughout the solar system is that we are moving into an area of energy that is different, that is higher. The glowing plasma at the leading edge of our solar system has recently increased 1000%. Now, check this out. The Sun itself has a magnetic field, of course, and that magnetic field creates an egg around the solar system, which is known as the heliosphere. The heliosphere is shaped like a teardrop, with the long and thin end of the drop pointing in the opposite direction from the direction that we're traveling. It's just like a comet, where the tail is always pointing away from the Sun. The Russians have looked at the leading edge of this heliosphere, and they have observed glowing, excited plasma energy there. This plasma energy used to be 10 astronomical units deep. An astronomical unit is the distance from the Earth to the Sun, 93 million miles, so 10 astronomical units represents the normal thickness of this glowing energy that we use to see at the front end of the solar system. Today, that glowing plasma has gone to 100 astronomical units deep. Although Nitrev's paper does not give an exact timeline, we can assume that this increase happened in the same 1963 to 1993 period as the increase he found in natural disasters. Whenever it happened, that's a 1000% increase in the overall brightness of the energy at the front end of the solar system. And this means that the solar system itself is moving into an area where the energy is more highly charged. That higher charged energy is in turn exciting the plasma and causing more of it to form, so you see more luminosity, more brightness. This energy is then flowing into the Sun, which in turn emits the energy and spreads it out along its equatorial plane, which is called the ecliptic. This in turn is saturating interplanetary space, which causes the solar emissions to travel more quickly and charge up the energy on the planets. And this is conscious energy that is changing how the planet works, how it functions, and what kind of life it supports. The harmonics of the DNA spiral itself are altering. That's the real, hidden cause of spontaneous mass evolutions in previous epochs of time. All this is happening all at the same time, and it's all working up to a crescendo where there is going to be a sudden shift. In other words, we will get to the point where we are so far into the new level of energy that there will be a sudden expansion of the basic harmonic wavelengths that the Sun emits as it radiates energy out of itself. This increase in energy emission will change the basic nature of all matter in the solar system. The planets are pushed slightly farther away from the Sun, and the atoms and molecules that make them up actually expand in terms of their physical size. Peace and love, Art Rosenblum, Aquarian Research Foundation.